Okay, today we are talking, like Farah said, about college essay strategies to get accepted to your dream school. So let's just jump right into it. First, I'm going to give a quick little intro about me. So my name is Dyllen Nellis. As Farah said, I do college application consulting. I go to Stanford, and I really empower students to discover their sense of self and effectively communicate their personal values, experiences, and potential through well-crafted college essays. So I've edited over 900 essays at this point. It's so close to 1,000. And I've identified all the common mistakes, the overused phrases, and the standout strategies that can honestly make or break an application. So I offer a lot of services and resources if anyone is curious, including college essay editing. I actually have a team of editors who can go through your essay and provide really insightful feedback. Live consulting, in which I meet with you one-on-one over Zoom, educational videos on YouTube, and most valuable, a comprehensive online course to craft a successful essay. And so you'll hear me talking more about the course throughout this because it is truly the most valuable resource I have ever created. So ultimately, I aim to unlock a future of possibilities for students of all socioeconomic backgrounds. All right, enough about me. Let's talk about Harvard's scoring method. Okay, so this isn't just used by Harvard. It has actually been adopted by the Ivy Leagues and other top-ranked colleges. So what I need you guys all to do right now is pull out a pen and paper, or your notes app if you prefer to take notes digitally. I usually do. Also, I just wanted to pop in and say if anyone wants to turn on their cameras and that show their faces, that would be really lovely as well. But of course, you don't need to, you don't have to, but it's just nice to feel like I'm speaking to real people. Okay, so pull out some pen, paper, your notes app, whatever, and get ready to take some notes because today's webinar is going to have a lot of information. Okay, so this scoring method used by like top ranked universities is this essentially. You're scored on a scale from 1 to 6, 1 being the best and 6 being the worst. And now there's 4 different categories: academic, which pretty obvious, grades, test scores, academic activities, high school rigor, athletic, which only really matters if you are going for athletics or you have athletic activities or you're being recruited. Extracurricular activities, including clubs, volunteer activities, summer programs, internships, work experience, and passion projects. Personal category is personal qualities and character, intellectual vitality, emotional intelligence. We'll talk about what some of those things mean later because I know you might not know what all these terms are. How interesting or unique you are. Yes, colleges care about that. How well you are liked, your ability to overcome challenges, leadership, and other soft skills. So let's dive into these a little bit more in detail. So first, athletic. Like I said, it's really only for those who participate in athletic activities and or are considered for recruitment. A lot of people would get scared by this and be like, oh my God, I have to do athletics to get into college. No, I did not do athletics to get into college. Okay, and then we have extracurriculars. Now, I do have to shed some light on the situation in that college admissions is difficult. It's very difficult, and it's especially difficult this year, and it just keeps getting more difficult each year, unfortunately. And so here's the reality of the situation. To score a 1, which is the best on this scale, you would need activities that are unique or uncommon, activities that have a large sphere of influence, national, state, international, have leadership positions in your activities, and common activities like NHS or Key Club or Model UN won't necessarily help you stand out. There are wonderful things to be a part of. I did NHS, but just so you know, it won't really help you stand out in college admissions because everybody does them. It's very, very common. And so you're probably like, oh my God, well, what am I supposed to do now? Well, if you're younger, maybe not a senior, because it's hard to do things right now in senior year with the time commitment. But if you're a junior, let's say, Maybe you could do a passion project, and a passion project can really help you stand out and simultaneously boost your personal score because it is something you're passionate about. And so this can look like starting a business or organization, or publishing a book, or making an app, or creating an invention, or launching an education program, or something like that. Obviously, these sound like really major things, and I know it can freak out a lot of people applying to college. It definitely freaked me out because I didn't really do this. I didn't have anything super significant like this. I had some little things, but nothing as significant as this. And so I also want to note that it isn't necessary. This stuff is not necessary in order to get into college. It's just these are kind of the things you may need to do, or are more important to do if you are aiming for those top ranked schools. Yeah, so that's that. And then academics, let's talk about this. So the truth is, even with perfect grades and a perfect SAT or ACT score, the highest score in this category you can get is a 2. And it's, 1 is the best score. So to have a shot at scoring a 1, you would actually need national or international academic activities and achievements. Those can be things like Science Olympiad or, other things like that. There's also, however, a lot less importance on academics due to COVID-19. So the test optional, pass fail in certain classes. There's no SAT subject tests. So I want to debunk some misconceptions. And one of that is that grades can get you in the door, but they are not the most important factor in admissions. A lot of students freak out a little bit too much on the academic side of things and pour their entire energy into just academics, when the college admissions officers don't just care about that. They really want to know who you are as a person. And I'll get into that in a second. So colleges are not just looking for students with high scores. You can have high scores, but if the rest of your application isn't strong, you don't have a high shot of getting admitted into, like I've been saying, these top ranked schools. Now, many students I kind of touched on that. Many students place so much emphasis on grades and scores, but these will not set you apart from other applicants because there are so many applicants with the same profile as you. Now, I know a lot of everything I just said sounded really discouraging, but don't worry, because the rest of this webinar will be more encouraging, and I will help you and give you practical tools to craft a stronger application, specifically in your college essays. So, to reiterate, GPA and test scores can be the sole reason you are denied. But at many universities in the US, they will never be the sole reason you are accepted. So college essays can set you apart because there are students who will have the same scores as you, and the same clubs as you, and the same sports as you. And there will be students who are better than you in all of these categories. But that's okay. Because the fact is, no one has the same story as you, the very specific story that you went through and the way that you think about things and how you dealt with them. So let's talk about the personal category. Most students underestimate the importance of this category. However, this year, it's more important than it has ever been in the past, because of test optional in terms of the SAT and ACT. So your personal experiences, your values, and your insights can really set you apart from other applicants. And this personal rating is largely determined by your personal statement and supplemental essays, which just means all of your college essays, the letters of recommendation, the interview, the additional information section, and the new COVID-19 essay. So let me just now ask you, how are you currently feeling about your college applications? So I would love if you guys could drop some comments in the chat. I just want to know, how are we feeling about it? Are we feeling good? Are we feeling bad? Are we feeling overwhelmed? Are we feeling stressed, nervous, confident? Let me know. Let's get some involvement in the chat. Okay, we got a lot of similar things going on. A lot of overwhelmed and stressed and overwhelmed. Okay, that's the main thing I see here. Interesting. And yeah, those are normal feelings to have. And so don't, criticize yourself for feeling these feelings. It is normal, part of it. Okay, nervous, but prepared. Oh, awesome. We love that. Okay, so what I want you guys to know is that college applications may seem like a really scary or stressful or overwhelming process. But if you get organized, you apply the right strategy and stay on track, you'll realize it's much more approachable than you may think. It's true. So let's go back in time. This is me in 2018. Geez, that was so long ago, it seems like now. But anyways, I was just like you. I was nervous and I was stressed when it came to my college applications. And I was even at the top of my class, and I had big dreams of getting into Stanford, USC, and UCLA. But I had no idea how and no guidance of how to do any of this. So I couldn't afford a private college consultant, and I noticed a lack of resources and guidance at my Title I public high school. So I really appreciated my high school college counselor's help with like general logistics and filling out the application and like, here's how you got on the website. But I wasn't able to learn the necessary strategy behind college applications. They would always say like, write your college essays, start early. Those phrases were passed around all the time. And I was like, great, I know I need to start early and I know I need to write my college essays, but is anyone going to tell me how? Like there must be some sort of strategy to this. And there totally is. And it's so specific. And high schools don't teach you that most of the time. Yet it can literally make or break an application. So what did I do? I sought out numerous articles, books, and videos to educate myself on the ins and outs of the college application process. And I learned that it's not just about getting into college. Honestly, it's about understanding who you are as a person. And that's what I find so fascinating about this process and why I continue to work in this space. It's about using your specific strategies to effectively convey your values, experiences, and potential to colleges. So my work paid off. I was accepted into every school that I applied to, including Stanford, USC, UCLA, UC San Diego, NYU, and many more. So the college application process is a journey towards self-discovery. I want to make that very clear. I had a whole personal growth moment during my senior year of high school, and I hope that that can happen for you as well. Okay, here's the trick though. Even with my success, in the end, I was successful, right? But during the process, I was so incredibly stressed. I spent so much time just trying to figure out the strategy to get into my top schools that I didn't have a comfortable amount of time to actually execute what I had learned. So I was hella stressed, but you don't have to be. I want to make that very clear. Like lots of people talk about the college application process and, oh my God, I was so stressed. Oh my God, it was the worst time of my life. I never, ever, ever want to think about that again. It doesn't have to be such a negative experience if you go in with the correct strategy. So my students have done it, and so can you. The students I've worked with have gotten into Stanford, UPenn, Cornell, UCLA, USC, and many, many more. And they all followed this 6-step process, which we're going to go over today. So first, before we dive into the process, I want to ask, which approach do you want to take? Do you want to wing it, which is what a lot of students do? They have high stress. They're really scattered. A lot of ideas going on in their head, but they don't really know how to sort through any of them. They're scrapping and restarting tons of essay drafts, and all of that is just wasting their precious time. Or do you want to go in with expert strategy in which you follow a step-by-step process to craft a successful essay, you have low stress, and you're able to submit with confidence? Let me know in the chat. Which one are we leaning towards? All right, we see some experts. I love that. We have some good energy today. I have too much on the line. Exactly. Oh my gosh. Yes, exactly that. You don't want to regret not taking a chance, or you don't want to regret not putting in your best effort at the end. You know what I mean? So you want to make sure that you do everything you can. You put your best foot forward when you submit. And so obviously, let's keep it the expert strategy route. And yes, love what you say here, still keeping it natural and genuine. That is exactly what we want. Authenticity is key. All right, so the first thing you're going to do is get organized. This is before you even start the essay writing process. You need to research colleges and create a college list. So I think the College Board has a wonderful search engine for this. It's called collegesearch.collegeboard.org. And you can basically use it like you use an online shopping website, which is where you like specify the things you want and hit the search button and it pulls up your search results. So you can say like how much financial aid that they give or what kind of majors they have or whether it's a school in an urban area or a rural area or if it's what kind of extracurriculars they have. Like you get to specify all those things and get your search results, which is really cool. And that's how you can learn about other schools that you may have not heard of before. Oh my God, big tip I have to say right now, don't just apply to schools that you've heard of before. Like the brand name schools, yeah, great for sure. But like, will they actually be the perfect school for you? Will they actually fulfill your educational goals? Sometimes not exactly. And so you need to really do your research into the college's websites to figure out if this is the right place for you. So I actually have a full video on that, which you can find if you just search on YouTube, my name, Dyllen Nellis, and like college research or like researching a college's website, it will pop up very easily. Once you've developed this college list, I highly recommend creating a spreadsheet of all the requirements and the deadlines of each college. So I say a free template here. I know you can't click on this right now, but I will actually link it in the chat right now. I have a whole section of free resources in my website, which you can find, and I will put it in the chat once and make sure it's the right link. So College Essay Advice is my website, and that's where you will be able to find every single thing that I talk about today. Okay, cool, got the right link. So let me put that in the chat. This is my free resources, and that's where you can get a free template to a Google Sheets doc I created. And yeah, okay, moving on. Creating a college app schedule. It is so important to stay on track, y'all. Time management is so necessary to prevent the future stress when it comes close to your deadline, because supplemental essays can honestly pile up and end up biting you in the butt. And you don't want to be writing up on your deadline with a million things to do. I found for me that once I like sat down, I think this was in like September or something, I was like, wait a minute, I don't actually know like how much I need to do and how that fits in with my time frame. So I wrote out what I would have to accomplish every single week until my deadline. And boy, was that enlightening. I realized I had a lot less time than I thought. And I had to write a new college essay every week. So every week I would write a new essay and be editing the previous one and be brainstorming for the next one. And so there was a lot of work going on. Not to mention, on top of taking 8 classes in high school, 4 of them being APs and extracurriculars and studying for the SAT. It was a lot. It was a lot to deal with. And that's why we need to start early and we need to start now. Like if you're in the college application process, or if you're a senior right now, you need to start now, like now. So now let's get into the college essay part. And this is going to be what the majority of this presentation will focus on. So actually, let me get a sip of water. Okay, what are college essays? First, it's important to know it's not your typical high school essay. Unfortunately, our high schools do not prepare us to write college essays. They prepare us to write prepare us to write academic essays, but even in college, it's a whole different system than that I've had to realize and learn. But college essays are really a piece of creative writing. So they're not a resume either, because the admissions officers already have access to your activities and awards. So you don't need to go listing and bragging every single thing that you've done in your college essays. They're a story, like something you'd read in first-person nonfiction or a book or a short memoir. And so what you're going to do is focus on a specific theme or experience or set of experiences that are wrapped in one theme. So do not share your entire life journey. I've gotten essays like this, I've edited them. It just sounds all over the place when you're saying, one day I was born in this place, and then I moved here, and then I went to this school, and then I went to that school, and then I tried to take the SAT, but I couldn't take the SAT. And so I studied some more, and then I did this, and it just feels like, where is this going? What does this say about you? And that's really what the colleges are looking for. What does this say about you and who you are as a person? Because character and personal qualities, as we discussed, is literally a factor that they evaluate you on. So they want to learn about your passions, your mindset, the way you see the world, and the way you approach obstacles. All right, so there are two key qualities that colleges are looking for. And let's get into them. I mentioned them earlier. Let's see if you remember. Intellectual vitality. All right, that's the first one. And so intellectual vitality is how you take responsibility for your own education and engage in activities that you are extremely passionate about. It's all about taking initiative and having that curiosity. Once some little thing sparks your interests, you go and pursue it. You go on the internet and watch a ton of YouTube videos or read a bunch of articles so you can learn more about it. Like, you learning outside of the classroom is something that they really admire. They also want to know how your mind works. Like, how do you think about things? How does your thought process work or look like? And convey that in your essays is actually a really important thing to do. Intellectual vitality is actually one of the main core values that Stanford has. And so if you're doing Stanford essays, they really, really care about this. And then the next thing is emotional intelligence. And this is the capability to recognize your own emotions and manage them effectively. So this demonstrates your self-awareness and your ability to analyze a situation and uncover underlying problems or hidden meanings. It's about self-reflection, maturity, and your mindset, the way that you see the world. And so one thing that's important is that I think you should always ask yourself deeper questions as you're going through the essay writing process, or as you're brainstorming your story. Ask yourself, why was I doing this? What was my motivation for it? Or why was I feeling this way? Was it because of something else that happened in your past? Was it because something that someone had said to you? Was it because of a social stigma that was placed upon you at a young age? Or just the way that our society functions? I honestly, truly feel like in college essays, and well, not even just college essays, just life, because college essays are life. The problems we face are usually tied to something related to the way our society functions. That tends to be the issue here. And so if you are able to recognize that and maybe acknowledge it in your essay, I think that shows a lot of maturity. If your friend, okay, this is an important quote. If your friend finds your essay on the ground and it has no name on it, they should be able to tell that it's yours just by reading it. So this is not my quote. It was tossed around a lot during my college application process. What it basically means is your essay needs to be so personal that it can't apply to anyone else. Now, I know you may be sitting here thinking, well, dang, I haven't gone through anything crazy in my life. I haven't gone through a super huge life-changing or traumatic experience, or, or maybe you did, but the experience that you did go through seems like something that everyone goes through, or that is common, or people often write about. What do you do then? Well, let's talk about cliche topics. So I believe that almost any topic can be done if it is dealt with creativity, honesty, and your own unique perspective. So don't refrain from telling an incredibly impactful story from your life, even if the topic seems overdone. Because honestly, you want to tell them the most important things from your life and the really defining moments and things that have shaped your character. So why would you leave that out, right? Another thing that I want to say is we're all human. We are all human. And part of human nature is going through very similar situations, going through very similar challenges. And that's normal. That is okay. That is part of the human nature. But What makes you unique is your specific details and insights. And that is how the story actually unfolded for you. Like your very specific series of events of how things happened is very specific to you and not everyone else. And how you thought about it. How you thought about it, what feelings it created, what beliefs you had around it, and how you dealt with it, how you dealt with this experience or the problem or situation or whatever it was, and how you were able to learn from it, what values you took out of it, and how you were able to apply those lessons that you learned to other areas in your life. Those are all really specific details that can only be applied to you. And so that's how you're going to make your essay more unique. Now, even with this said, it really, really does depend on the topic sometimes, and it may be better to stand out with a topic that is less overdone and more unique to you. Like I said, really depends on the topic. If you are really confused about this and you want to talk with me about your topic, you can go to collegeessayadvice.com/consulting, and that's where we can get on a Zoom call and talk it out. And I would be happy to help you with that. Okay, the next thing is to read example essays. This is so crucial because you need to understand the college essay writing style and identify the strategies that other students employed. So my college essay course that I mentioned at the beginning of this series includes 26 successful essays written by admits of top-ranked universities like Stanford, UPenn, Brown, Cornell, Duke, USC, etc. And they have, there are really strong essays that I helped with some of the students who crafted them, and other people are my friends and other people I found on the internet. And they all agreed to let me use their essays for this course. And I actually went through and analyzed each one and wrote up like what made it so great, what strategies they used. And I color coded them all because I'm a huge fan of organization. And so in the course, you can find them all color coded to break down the structure, like all the different storytelling components that they used and how they arranged it. Those are so important to read and go over. The next thing you need to do is identify your core values. So ask yourself, how do you view the world? What matters to you? Why do you do the things you do? How do you deal with conflict or setbacks or hardship? And what is something you strongly believe? What makes you you? So some examples of values could be authenticity, community, justice, etc. However, your essay does not need to blatantly state these values. In fact, it's usually better if they don't, because these values should be conveyed through your story and through your reflections. So once the admissions officer finishes reading your essay, they can step back and say, wow, I can tell that student really cares about being courageous, like they're really bold, or maybe that student is really patient, or they really care about social justice. Like they should be able to sense these things from your story rather than you saying, I care about this, And in my college essay course, I actually walk you through exactly how to do this, how to identify your own core values, and you'll go through a series of exercises and things where you can learn a lot more about yourself. And I think becoming self-aware is one of the biggest parts of the college essay writing process. And this kind of learning that you're going to do about yourself will impact you for the rest of your life, not just in college essays, but in the way that you carry yourself and when you apply to jobs and just everything that you do in the future. Having a more solid understanding of who you are and how you work will make all the difference, and it will really benefit you. Okay, the next thing you need to do is the most important step, and I mean the most important step, and that is structuring your essay. So don't just start writing your essay until you have done this. And I promise you, structuring your essay will save you so much time and stress. And by structuring your essay, I mean literally outlining like what's going to be said in every single paragraph, writing bullet points, and then like hitting an indent, and then, okay, this is going to be in this section. This is going to be in this section. So you know exactly what is going to be said in every single paragraph. Now, I want to open it up to everybody and ask a question. What is most likely to happen if you do not structure your essay? Can you drop some guesses in the chat? Let me know. Let's see if you guys can guess it. There are several answers to this question, not just one. What will happen if you do not structure or outline your essay? Okay. Ooh. We have random and messy. It won't make sense. It will be all over the place. The essay becomes unorganized. It will lack direction, not as cohesive. Too many ideas throughout the essay. College admissions people will not understand where you're going with the essay. They'll procrastinate it because you don't know where to start. Oh my God. Okay. Y'all are so smart. You really nailed it. All of these are correct. Absolutely every single person got it correct. Oh, you won't really have an idea of how you want to present yourself. Absolutely. So this is what I put together, but you guys are so right. Your essay may start in one place and end up somewhere completely different. It deviates from the main theme and is scattered rather than cohesive. You place too much emphasis on some parts and not enough emphasis on others. I constantly see this. Students will spend so much time talking about the background and like the context of whatever problem they're going through and like the problem, all the negative stuff, and not focus enough on like how they actually dealt with the problem, what they learned from it, and their values and how that relates to their identity and personality and the way that they carry themselves. Like that's the most important part of the college essay, not here are all my problems. And so the emphasis that you place is very important. Another thing is you might experience writer's block because you have no idea what direction your essay is supposed to go. And if you create a structure, there's no question. You're not going to have writer's block because you're never not going to know what you need to write. It's literally written out for you. So you know exactly how you're going to get from point A to point B. And lastly, the admissions officer is lost and does not finish the essay with the main takeaway, which is so sad. And all of these things are wasting your precious time because what do you have to do? Start over. And that's what we want to avoid, having to start over so many times. Trust me, I went through it. This is me, 2018, with my short hair. It was 1 a.m. and I was writing my essays. I spent so much time attempting an essay, then realizing it was crap, doing more research on college essay writing, starting over, and repeating that process. It was not the best. So don't waste your time scrapping a million essay drafts. Let me show you how to get it right the first time or the first couple times. So it's really all in the way that you write it, because so many students have great stories to tell. They just don't know how to communicate them in the best way. And then they start doubting themselves, thinking that their story's not good, when that's not the case at all. It's just they need to know how to actually structure it. So I actually compiled the insight from college essay experts, admissions officers, and successful students into two structures, narrative and thematic. Now, practically every successful college essay uses one of these structures, even if they do so unintentionally. And in my college essay course, I'll walk you through these structures of what belongs in each section and how you can make your essay still personal, unique, and authentic to you while following these structures, because they are very flexible. And that's the beauty of it. So I highly recommend checking out the course for that reason, because this is the most important part of the entire college essay writing process. Next, trash write the whole essay. You're probably like, what? Trash write? I don't want my essay to be trash. Well, here's the thing. Once you have that structure or outline, I recommend just turning your bullet point structure into sentences and paragraphs. Now, don't just stop to rewrite and perfect each sentence or paragraph before moving on to the next. Because if you do so, you may later realize that your structure is off and needs to be adjusted. And then you'll have to go back and completely rewrite the essay. And it's like, why did you spend so much time just trying to get the words to sound pretty when it doesn't even relate to your main theme? So I wasted a lot of time doing this. That's why I really recommend just like sketching it all in first. Think of it like a drawing, like you sketch in what it's going to be first, then you do the details. Don't start with the details or things will get messed up. So don't worry about sounding too nice yet. The focus here is really solidifying the structure rather than the word choice and the eloquence. And if at this point you've been following the college essay course and the steps that I have given you, the exercises I provide will have already guided you in the right direction. Okay, so once you have done this, now you can start crafting a first draft and focusing on the sentence flow, the eloquence, the storytelling, and showcasing your personality. So there's a lot, and I mean a lot, of college essay writing strategies. Here are just a couple. They're not super explained here, but because there's so much to write about for each one. So there's things like show, don't tell, or wrapping your story in a metaphor, or drawing connections between ideas, swapping out overused phrases, condensing and combining sentences, and having an intention behind every sentence. Oh, that's so important because so many students will like reiterate the same stuff and then wonder why their word limit is like way past the limit. And I'm like, it's because you're repeating yourself, or because you're saying things that don't actually matter, or don't relate to the main theme, or don't push the story forward. So every single sentence or every single thing you say must have an intention behind it. Why are you telling this to us? Now, my college essay course, I actually teach you how to employ each of those strategies, and I explain them. I give examples, plus how to write the opening anecdote and closing sentences, which are kind of the most important parts because they are the opening and closing of your sentence, of your essay, which is what the reader will most likely memorize or remember from your essay. And then techniques to improve your writing, specific storytelling strategies, and the ultimate list of overused phrases. Now, I have combined, like I've created this whole list after editing over 900 essays. I've seen so many of people using the same exact words and the same exact phrases that I was like, okay, y'all just need to see a whole list of this so you can stop saying these words. So I put it all in a whole list and explained maybe some other things you can say instead, and other words you can swap out. The next step is to revise and finalize. So it's important to know that your first draft is not your final draft. Your essay should seriously undergo several rounds of revision, and this revision process can last days, weeks, or even months, which is why it's so important to start early. I recommend making copies of your drafts so that you can have different versions to refer back to and take words and phrases from. Now, also in terms of revision, you should have someone you trust provide feedback on your essay. Now, people ask me, should it be someone I know or I don't know personally? And I think ideally both, but if you had to choose one, someone you do not know personally. Now, let me explain that in just a sec. So first, actually, someone you do know personally, like your parents, for example, your parents or your teacher, they might be able to provide insight on admirable qualities that you have or parts of your story that you left out. But you still need to make sure that the essay is still in your voice. Remember, we want this to be authentic and true to you. So don't let someone else change it to the point where it no longer feels authentic. Now, it is most important to have someone you do not know personally read over your essay. And why is that? Because the admissions officers will not know you either. They are starting from a clean slate. They know nothing. They don't know your background. They don't know your personality, your values. They literally know nothing about you. And so their feedback will be so important to give you an idea of how your words are coming across and how your story is understood by an outsider. A lot of times when I'm editing essays, I simply don't understand what some students are saying sometimes. And obviously they understand it because they went through it, or they know whatever extracurricular they're describing, maybe, for example, like they're telling me about it, but I don't fully grasp what's going on because I don't have that same experience. And so the admissions officers are not going to have any of your same experiences. So you need to make sure that your essay can be clearly understood by anyone who reads it. Like people who have different passions than you, people who live in different states, countries as you, come from different cultural backgrounds. It needs to make sense. Lastly, once you have revised your essay until your gut tells you it's ready to go, you have a final draft, which is wonderful. Yay. And now that you have a final draft, you can actually repurpose this essay to fit other essay prompts, which is so wonderful. So you're not having to write too many essays. For example, I used my Common App essay and I turned that one into my UCPIQ. Or one of my UCPIQs, PIQs being personal insight questions, which is just the essays for the University of not Southern California, the University of California schools. Okay, I constantly screw that up. And then I used a UCPIQ as a supplemental essay for Stanford. I used one of the same supplemental essays for USC and Stanford. So, doing two things at once is a good idea. So I want you to know there is a way to complete your college applications without the excess stress. The Ultimate Guide to Craft Your Story, which is my college essay course, has been proven to reduce stress, increase confidence, and guide you on a journey toward self-discovery. So just imagine for a sec, what if this is possible? What if writing college essays could be easy or fun? I know it may not sound possible right now, but it was possible for these students. So Jolie here, who ended up going to Texas A&M, said that the course made brainstorming and organizing essays so easy. Her words, not mine. She called it easy. And there was words of encouragement and humor throughout the course because I really want it to be personal. I'm not just like other, essay advice blogs or whatever that are just very straightforward, telling you like it is, like I want it to be fun. I want this process to be something you can look back on and not have trauma associated with it. But it can be something that you are proud of. And so Jolie here was actually able to get into all 6 schools that she applied to. And then Riza here got into UC Berkeley, said the course was a huge lifesaver and it made her excited to work on her application. She had fun and was able to be creative during a time that tends to be filled with stress over college applications. So love to hear that from them. Now let's ask one more question. What if you could submit your college applications with confidence and pride? Well, here we go again. Carla and Uriel here actually both ended up going to USC. And Carla said that basically she was able to get into a school that she didn't expect to get into, which is USC. And that really increased her self-confidence. And so the whole experience was a learning experience. And I think that's really beautiful. Now, Uriel here said that the course helped him tell his truest story and be proud of his writing. And it's so important to feel proud, when you're submitting. So that you put your best foot forward. So even whatever result it may be, whether you get accepted or rejected, whatever, that you tried your best. And there's not lingering regrets of what you could have done. And then let me ask you all, do you want to submit excellent college essays, increase your chances of college admission, and become a more confident and evolved version of yourself? Let me know. Let me know in the chat. Excellent college essays, increase your chances of admission, and a more confident, evolved version of yourself. Wow, that's the whole package. Okay, I have several yeses in the chat. Thank you for participating. Yes, let's do it. Let's do it. I think we'll come out of this such better people in the end. So if you said yes, here's what you need to do. First things first, commit to yourself. I really love this quote. It used to be on my walls when I was back home, but now I'm at Stanford. Anyways, it says, there are people less qualified than you doing the things you want to do simply because they decide to believe in themselves. Let that sink in. They're less qualified than you, but they're doing what you want to do. So why can't you do those things? Because you don't believe in yourself? Well, why don't you believe in yourself? So if you believe in yourself, you will be able to do the things you want to do. So I recommend defining your goals and writing them down. Then once you know what your goals are, invest in resources, services, and support that will apply strategy toward achieving your goals. Because it's all about the how, not the what. Remember what my college counselors and teachers were saying to me in the beginning. They were like, write your college essay, start early. And I was like, great, that's the what. I know what I need to do. I just don't know how I'm going to get there in the most strategic, time-saving way possible. And this is how. So if you are struggling right now, I want you to know that this does not mean that you aren't smart. It doesn't mean that at all. Most likely, it just means you're missing the correct strategy. So what is the correct strategy? The strategy behind every type of college essay is this course, which is a strategic step-by-step process to convey your personal values, experiences, and potential to stand out in college admissions. And you won't find this much value in any of my other resources. So you're going to learn actually how to craft every type of college essay, not just like your Common App, which is super cool. I talk about the differences between the Common App essay and the UCPIQs because yes, there are specific ways in which you should write those that are a little bit different in terms of what they're looking for. And then also the Why Us supplemental essay, which is honestly one of the trickiest essays to get right because so many people fall into cliches. And they just say a lot of general phrases that's like, oh, okay, great. Yes, we hear this from every single student ever. But how do you stand out? How do you tell the college, this is why I want to go to your school without sounding like everybody else? So the Ultimate Guide to Craft Your Story will teach you how to do this. And it will actually teach you how to strategically take notes while researching colleges, like going on their website and stuff, how to take notes and then transform those notes into the outline of your essay. So I have a ton of worksheets that you can fill out and use for these processes. So logistically, here's what's included. 14 chapters of both written and video content, interactive digital workbook with 15 worksheets to map out your own ideas. This is on Google Slides. 26 successful college essay examples, brainstorming and idea mapping techniques to find your best topic, college essay structures and storytelling strategies, which is the most important part of everything, the ultimate list of overused phrases that I've collected, common mistakes and how to fix them. So it's really a streamlined hub of information because I went through this process myself. I know what it's like going through this and my 3 years of research, because I definitely did not stop researching after I got into my schools. I have continued to research and have learned so much more that I never knew when I was in high school about the college essay writing process. And I've read books, articles, and videos on this from other esteemed sources. And my experience working with students, editing all these essays, creating over 50 YouTube videos on college apps, and spending my entire gap year consulting with students over Zoom. I definitely had a lot of breakthroughs during that time where I made a lot of new connections and had a lot of ideas that I didn't have before. And I put all of everything into my college essay course because I really want that to be like the place where it's just everything in one place with all the best information. So plus, once you purchase this course, you will actually provide one to a first generation and low income student. So you're not just helping yourself, you're helping someone else as well. And you'll receive a thank you email with the name of the FGLI student that you helped. So no more feeling lost, okay, everyone? No more scrapping countless of poor essay drafts. No more wasting your time. Let me teach you how to build a solid foundation and refine your essay from the ground up. All right. Now, if you would like someone to edit your essays once you have created those drafts, we also offer an essay editing service. This is my team of 7 essay editors, or 8, including me. And we don't just cover like writing stuff and grammar. We cover what you really need for college essays, which is the storytelling, the cohesion, clarity, phrasing and grammar, and flow. These are all essential components to your college essays, and you need to make sure that each one of these are top notch. And so we will go through your essay and provide a lot of really detailed feedback to help you with that. So the link is there as well. It's just college essay advice. You can find everything. All right. So thank you so much. I want to be here to help you through the whole process. Here are all of my resources and information and links and websites. And I want you to know that you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. So take those shots, take those chances, because then at least you will have a chance versus not having a chance at all. So thank you so much for listening to me today. I would be happy to answer a couple questions in the couple minutes that we have left. So if you would like, you can pop some questions in the chat and I will try to respond to them. Thank you, everyone. Okay, and then I saw a question about like, will this course be useful for universities in Canada? So I have not done a lot of research on international universities, so I can't speak to that as much. So I don't fully know. I think I would have to like research that a little bit more. But if you do some research and figure out that they're asking for very similar things or very similar types of essays, then I would say, yes, this would apply. But I don't fully know Canada's college essay system, so I can't say exactly. Okay, someone's raising their hand, so I'll let you can go ahead and unmute yourself and ask your question.
Okay, cool. So this question was like, I remember seeing a video on your channel about like it had a bunch of colleges and then it kind of listed like different factors and like
Yes,
if they were considered like and like the level of consideration they take to each one. So I was just wondering where you get that information from.
yeah. So that was the, I believe, common data set. So if you search like the college name and common data set, you will receive a lot of statistical information on the admissions process for certain schools. So that is what I did during the time that I released that video. The most up-to-date one was like 2018, I believe. So things have since changed, which makes me a little bit iffy about having those videos up because of COVID and how things have changed because of COVID. So it's like it probably isn't super accurate anymore. Mostly just dealing with like the test scores things are like less important. But yeah, that's how you find it. Common data set. And I don't exactly remember the section it's on, but I'm sure if you look it up on Google, you'll be easily able to find it. Just like scroll down and there is a section that lists all that information.
Got it. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Okay, go ahead. Someone or the person who is raising their hand, and then I'll go into the ones in the chat.
All right. Hi. Thank you for taking my question. I was gonna ask, I come from a Title I school as well. But like I guess how would you say would be the best way to, I guess, deal with a lot of the the sort of self-doubt that emerges from coming from a Title I school where you don't have that much support and thinking like, would they even know about my school? Like if they don't have a background, are they really gonna understand the circumstances that I come from? And like, is this worth it? You know, that sort of self-doubt that comes with all that.
Yeah. Okay. It's definitely worth it. Take those shots. If I'm honest, I think sometimes if you are a high achieving student at a Title I high school, it will help you in the college admissions process. It definitely will help you versus being at a really competitive school. College admissions is going to be a lot harder for you. So being at a Title I school actually helps in that sense, but obviously it's because it's compensating because of lack of resources and systemic problems and a lot of, we can get into that all day, but so because you said you come from a Title I high school, I actually wanted to offer you an opportunity. So I'm actually offering my course for free to students who are at Title I high schools. I have a student ambassador program for that, and you can actually give out the course to people at your school for free. And so if you're interested in that, you can go to collegeessayadvice.com/free-course, I believe, or free course. It's on the top, or free course. It's a free course, no dash. And you can also find it in the menu at the top. And then you can get those resources for free, because that is something I'm really trying to work towards, is getting those resources out to people who need it and people who don't have access to it. But yeah, know that you can do it. It's totally possible. And they want to hear your story. They really do. Your story does matter. And you can tell those stories in your college essays and you can make them impactful. I hope that answered your question.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome. Okay, now looking at the chat, what did I end up writing about for my college essay? Okay, so for my Common App essay, I wrote about the challenges of taking care and dealing with my grandfather who had Alzheimer's disease. So in my senior year of high school, we had some family complications in which like my grandma left to Taiwan, and then my grandpa had to stay with us because we didn't have the ability to pay for like a facility to put him in, or like a in-home care situation. And so we had to take care of him, we as in my parents and I, and we had no experience in any of that and didn't know how to deal with that and had to work around our own schedules to deal with that. And there was a language barrier because he mostly spoke Chinese. I spoke English and my dad spoke English, and my dad was home all the time. My mom, who speaks Chinese, was always out working. And so the challenges of that, and like our relationship as well, just like how that shifted. And I wasn't able to have the same relationship that I did with him when we were younger, and how Alzheimer's had gotten in the way of that. And then I segued into like the societal problem of like how our society really focuses on the beginning of life and our youth and all that stuff, but they don't really focus on the end of life and how we will be supported during that time. And so I thought that was really interesting and looked up a lot of like information about that on the internet. And then in the end of my essay, I proposed an idea for an app, which would provide information on that to help other people going through the same thing, documents or important documents that they should fill out, educational information, like games and journaling to help the actual Alzheimer's patient. So to help both the patient and the family deal with those things. Now, that was a proposal that I created that I was currently designing. I was like designing the app for it, because I was also using that for my USC application, because for the program, the special program that I was applying for at USC, I had to submit a proposal for that, like a business proposal thingy. And so that's what I created. So I was like, oh, I'll make that my Common App essay at the same time, so other colleges can know about that as well. I didn't actually end up creating the app. It was more of the idea and design concept. But yeah, that's what it was about. But I think it really showed my potential, because obviously I went on to create something similar about access to resources, which I'm doing now in the college application sphere. Yeah. Okay, what is the difference between a narrative and thematic essay? Yeah, so like I go into detail, real detail about that in the course, but basic gist is like a narrative essay focuses on like one specific story or like streamline story. Like, yeah, okay, I'm not going to go too into detail, but like one specific story really, in which you like went through something, took action, learned a bunch of stuff, came out of it with a new set of values or perspectives, or you learn more things. And then the thematic essay is like several experiences, several stories from your life that all connect to one theme. And then you talk about that theme and how that is reflected in your life through those different stories. Okay. And then someone said, for the essay, would you recommend writing about a passion project, for example, making an app? Like I did. How can we make sure we are showing instead of telling if we do this? Yes. So I actually, do recommend writing about, if you have a massive passion project, I would recommend writing about that in your Common App essay. I feel like a lot of students do that, and it can make your essays very strong, and really connect the personal motivation to the activity. Like the essay can definitely connect those two things, which I think is really important, because it boosts up your personal rating. And instead of showing versus telling, you got to give the background story. So it's not just, I did this thing and this is what happened and yada, yada, yada. Like, why did you do this thing in the first place? What was your personal experience that caused you to even have this realization? Or like, what's the Usually it's like you go through something personally or you witness something happening to someone else. And then you're like, oh my God, this is a problem in society. And then you do a bunch of stuff to like learn more about it. And then you create your project. And then you go through some stuff during that. And then you reflect on it, talk about the values and lessons that you learned. And maybe it developed new interests for you that you want to pursue in college or the future. And that's kind of like how it would go. Yeah. What is my major at Stanford? Funny that you ask. I am intending to design my own major, because if you watch my other videos, like, I'm always saying different things like, oh, I'm interested in art or computer science or theater or business or psychology. Like there's so many things that I'm interested in. And I was originally going to major in art practice and minor in this thing called symbolic systems. But then during the pandemic, I had a huge realization that I really like what I'm doing with this current business. And I want to keep studying stuff like this. And I don't really want to get as involved in art. And so I'm designing my own major. Hopefully I have to submit a proposal and do a bunch of work for that. And it will be called Human-Centered Design and Engineering. So basically it's a combination of computer science, product design, business, and psychology, like meshed into one. Yeah. Yeah. Oh my God. Thank you. Thanks for listening. Yeah, because I just found, even throughout my college application process, I needed an interdisciplinary major. No major just fit my interests. I just had too many, and I think that they all relate to each other. So yeah, that's what I did. I want to do that. And there's a lot of other majors that are currently existing at other schools that do a lot of similar stuff. I actually have a video on that. If anyone else feels like they have similar interests, a lot of different interests, I have a video called like something about like interdisciplinary majors. So if you search my name and interdisciplinary majors in YouTube, you will find it. And there's a bunch of schools and a bunch of programs, which I have looked up. Yeah. Okay. I think that is our last question. So thank you so much for having me today. Really appreciated this. I loved everyone's energy. It makes me feel really welcome as a speaker. So thank you so much. And once again, I want to be here to help you through the whole process. So make sure to go to this website that I have and fill out the mailing list form if you want. I have your emails. So I'm going to send you some resources so you can have that as well.